Erev Shabbos Kodesh Parshas Vayelech, Shabbos Shuvah, and starting our journey into Yom Kippur. And after the glorious Rosh Hashanah, the glorious beginning of the new year, Tuf Shin Pei 5780, now comes Yom Kippur, which is the time to find ourselves and tweak our actions and make sure that we're off to a wonderful start of this wonderful year. One of the things that we're told about, and perhaps we don't pay enough attention to, is that in order to approach God with holiness and with purity, we need to first straighten out our own affairs right here in our life, in our neighborhood, in the world that we live in. And that's to make sure that we haven't hurt anybody, that we're not holding any grudges towards anybody. We have to become pure. And when we become pure on Yom Kippur, we can approach God and request and ask for the relationship which will really give us the year that we need. Something astounding I found in the Medrash in this week's Parsha. The Torah talks about the transference of leadership from Moses to his successor, Yehoshua. And there the Medrash describes the day that Moshe's leadership ended and Joshua's leadership began. And Moshe uncharacteristically walked out of his tent to the tent of Joshua. Usually it would be the other way. And he met Joshua at his tent and he began to walk next to him. He put Joshua on his right side, as one does with his teacher, as one does with his leader. And they walked together until they came to the Mishkan, to the holy place. And there on that day, they stood together, and the cloud of Hashem, the prophecy of Hashem, came onto Joshua for the very, very first time. He became the leader. And when the cloud lifted and Joshua came back down to earth, says the Medrash that Moshe turned to him and said, "What did God say?" And Joshua said, "I can't tell you. I was never able to ask you what God said when he spoke to you. A prophet is private. I have to keep it for myself." Says the Medrash that when Moses heard this, he said, "Mea misos velokina achas." I should die 100 times and not have this feeling of jealousy, this feeling of envy that I have right now. It's an amazing thing that Moses was certainly the highest level Jew that a person can become. What human being can grow greater than Moshe in his fulfilling his task in this world and his closeness to God? Yet, he was a human being. And a human being is fragile. And the Midrash goes out of its way to record for us the fragility, the sensitive nature of Moshe, perhaps because he was such a man of God, that this feeling left out hurt him. And this goes to show us two things. One is how careful we have to be with other people's feelings. We can never say, well, he's just too sensitive. I didn't really say anything wrong. And then there's a second level, a second message. And that message is that we too are only human. We can't beat ourselves up for being human. If we feel sensitive, that's okay. If we feel slighted, that's okay too. That's what it means to be a human being. Even Moshe was sensitive. But when it comes to Yom Kippur, Erev Yom Kippur, the next few days, let's straighten it all out. Let's realize that we're all brothers and sisters, that we're all one family. And we didn't mean to hurt anybody, and our sensitivity, we just have to sort of let go of it. And I believe that if we do this, we can approach God on Yom Kippur and ask him and really be guaranteed a wonderful year, and we should all be sealed for a year of blessing, for happiness, for good health, from nachas of our children. Gemar Chasima Tova.